Welcome back to my channel again. Welcome to another episode of my Isdalen Woman Case Marathon. This is already the 5th episode, and this is the episode I was the most excited about because we are going to talk about some spy games, not only, and with some very interesting witnesses. So let's just start. In the 3rd episode, I told you about the reasons why we should consider that Bergen was very appealing to spies at that time. We are talking about Cold War. And actually there's another fact that kind of proves that at that time Norway could be very appealing to spies. The Norwegian defense system were testing a missile called the Penguin. And tests were carried in a place called Tananger, which is quite near Stavanger.
The Penguin missile was a guided missile that could seek its target. At that time, it was a new technology, a breakthrough of that kind, so it was very important to keep this testing secretive. Norway was a pioneer in this field, and actually an expert on the podcast revealed that although Norway might seem as a small country, it actually managed to produce many useful things for military and still does. No doubt something so advanced as the Penguin anti-ship missile would be of interest of foreign intelligence. They would like to know what it can do, how far it can shoot, how it works, how they make it, and so on. And if these tests are successful, they would know how powerful is the weapon that is in the hands of NATO allies.
And then the most exciting part of the podcast came. The investigative journalists were allowed the access to the files of secret police who were investigating the case. And these files are actually the ones that were not public. So there were high expectations. They were actually expecting to see some new leads, some facts that weren't still know up to this moment, and maybe these facts could help to solve the case. And in these documents they saw an information from a witness. It was a fisherman from Tananger, the area where they had the missile testing. In this document it was said that he just simply noticed Isdalen woman. The investigative journalists tried to find this fisherman and talk to him. Unfortunately he has deceased, but the journalists met his son, and he told them a very surprising story. He told that his father actually didn't like to talk about this very much, but when he talked, he said that this lady that he saw, she was of Slavic or Romanian looking, very well dressed, very good looking, and she actually met some kind of official who was participating in these Penguin missile testings. And he was actually very angry with that because, they had this very long conversation. It wasn't like a romantic date, like in movies, like some foreign lady comes to a foreign country and falls in love with some kind of soldier and everything's very roses and chocolates. No, they had a very serious and long conversation, and his father said that he was very angry with seeing that because what the heck, a lady with this Slavic look could have some common with a person who is an official working on some defense matters in Norway. So he remembered that because it was very weird, and then he saw the picture, the sketch of Isdalen woman on the newspaper, and he immediately understood that that was the lady he saw talking to the official on that evening. But the weirdest thing about this is that the file of the secret police, where it was mentioned that a fisherman saw Isdalen woman in that missile testing area, did not mention any of these facts, that she was meeting an official, that she had a conversation. It was merely just a sentence about the fact that he saw her there. So why didn't they include the information that she was meeting some kind of official on that evening? We don't know. And maybe this moment the fisherman saw was actually a meeting again of exchanging some kind of information. And also remember, in the previous episodes I said that the most reliable witness sources are the ones that are from official sources, like a hotel where there's a registration form and we definitely see that that was her. Well, we can again say the same about this information that the fisherman was providing, but there is more to the story. And when I heard about that, I thought, no, there must be something. This fisherman actually saw something, and this could be related to the Isdalen woman. So now let's talk about the story that simply blew my mind. So the case of Isdalen woman was closed shortly before Christmas. So this means the fisherman had already provided information for the secret police, and life goes on. So Christmas came, and the fisherman and all the family, including the son who is giving his interview for the podcast, said that they all went on a Christmas holiday to London. The surprising fact that he recalls is that they were just standing there in the railway station, and then they suddenly were approached by the policeman. The policeman took the father a little bit aside to have a conversation, and then father came back, and he acted a little bit weird, but kind of said, it's all okay, let's just move on, have a nice Christmas holiday. But the most strangest thing is that during this conversation the policeman actually gave to his father a shotgun and a knife. Why? He also recalled that during the holiday in London, his father never let go of the shotgun and knife, as if he was always ready to protect the family from something. The question is, why did they give this gun and knife to this person who gave this information that he saw Isdalen woman talking to this official? Maybe the police was afraid of his safety. Maybe he actually saw something that he shouldn't have seen. And afterwards, the son said that his father kind of even stopped talking about this thing that he saw, and he never wanted to talk about that. Maybe police suggested him just to shut up and stay low. We don't know. But anyways, this is really weird. Write down in comments what do you think about that. And speaking about the secret police, actually the weirdness of secret police can be felt like throughout the case, because for many years they actually denied that they were also involved in this case, and only kind of recently they admitted that yes, they were also involved in solving this case. Maybe at that point the case was so, if I can say, vulnerable, then nobody kind of should have known that they are also involved. I don't know. Another thing that I heard on the podcast, and it also kind of caught my attention, is that maybe this secrecy was because of the spy game, but you know, maybe there was some kind of Norwegian spy caught in some other country, and maybe they were holding him hostage, saying that you should keep silent about this case, about this lady, and in exchange I will give you back your spy. I don't know, it's just one of the theories. Don't come after me. I'm just wanted to put it out there because it also kind of sounds a little bit logic for me. And this, I think, also would explain why so many clues weren't actually documented and lost, because they just wanted to make everything look like an accident in order for people not to ask questions. So it's just like one of the theories. Because if we think about the men I was talking in the previous video, I mean, if she was meeting some kind of man, So this means these men or this man actually knew her, and why didn't he come forward and say, yes, I know her? If he was a normal person, and by that I mean like a friend or, I don't know, relative or a lover, he would be very sad to know that his relative or his love has died, and he would go to the police. But if he didn't do that, there must be some kind of very serious reason. How do you think? Now let's continue the topic of spy games. So in the podcast, the journalists actually met a former KGB agent. His name was Alexander Vasilyev, and he is now living in the UK, and he said that he was trained for 2 years in a spy school called Andropov Red Banner Institute. So he is kind of into that spy thing, and he could like serve as an expert in this case. Again, before we continue, the link to the podcast is below. I truly suggest you listen to it. So the journalists put forward all the evidences or the information they had, and they asked him a direct question. How do you think, is she a spy? And this answer from this former agent actually was very surprising. I quote, "I am sorry to disappoint you, but I don't think she was a Soviet spy. She had all the labels on her clothes cut off. Some people believe it proves that she was a spy because she tried to hide her real identity. But let me tell you this, if she was a Soviet spy, she would be wearing clothes bought in Norway or clothes bought in any other country, according to her legend." So the idea of him is that a real Soviet spy would try to kind of put himself into the new environment as good as possible, and he would try to keep with one identity and the storyline that he is now presenting. So if she was a lady from Belgium, then she would be like 100% representing herself as a Belgian. His main argument is that a real Soviet spy would stick to one storyline. He also mentions that a real Soviet spy would not have so many fake names. There would be, again, only one name, just to stick to the storyline. Another interesting fact that this former spy mentioned is regarding the official identity documents. He said that, of course, making identity documents is really hard so that they look like real ones. And again, always the names that are put into these like passport or any other identity related documents, they kind of have a real name, but of a person that is not alive anymore. And as we remember, all of these passport informations and her fake names were checked and they weren't real. So a real spy would most definitely operate with a real person's name, and the documents would at least look like real ones so that nobody can confirm that these are fake. And another thing that this former spy school graduate said is regarding the significant smell of garlic. Remember, I told you about that in the episode where I was talking about the shop assistant of the shop where Isdalen woman was buying rubber boots. He said that she had this specific garlicky smell that wasn't very pleasant. And Mr. Vasilyev said, I quote, "Let me tell you that a Soviet spy operating in the field would not smell like garlic. It should be smelling of Chanel number 5. So now that we have so many controversies regarding if she is or is not a spy, Mr. Vasilyev also kind of pushed forward his own theory, and he was laughing and saying, I think we have now cracked the case. We are now in the Murendal graveyard. This is the place where in one very typical Bergen type evening with a lot of rain, the mysterious Isdal woman was actually buried. Thank you for watching this episode. So the next episode is going to be the last one, I promise. And again, a lot of interesting facts coming up in the last episode, so bear with me. Press the notification bell, press the subscription button in order not to miss out this last episode. And thank you for watching, and see you tomorrow.